as we found out late last night after our game, our situation with a couple guys being out. So it's affirming. It should be for them and for our whole program, the importance and the role that a G League team and the work that those guys do, that not only that prepares them. And I think and you'll see when you go in the locker room, they're part of the fabric of the team. And for DeQuan to be, I think this is his first NBA game. Keaton's done this earlier in the year, whether it's at Boston or other games where he's helped us win. But those two guys, you can't say enough. And it's not just their productivity. DeQuan hit shots, but the way they defended. You can say it over and over again. Be ready. Play defense. You get in the game. Take your shot when you're open. Don't be hesitant. And that's what they did. And I think like I said, everybody, in our locker room is really excited for the way that those two guys played, because they understand the gravity of the situation, and that we came here undermanned, but those guys step up. We didn't look undermanned tonight. We had some guys that just competed.
Can you talk about your confidence in them to lead them in there to finish the game? I think both of them had only one turnover in the game.
Well, they're playing the way that we want to play as a team, and sometimes that urgency, you're doing things for other people. You're making plays maybe without the ball, and when you do that, it alleviates whatever pressure guys may feel with an individual matchup, and you're connected as a team. And ironically, you end up with open shots when that happens. And our guys, credit our players too. The guys that, the Hawks roster players, that they had that level of confidence in those two guys. And I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the way that Onyeka played. And his ability, I don't know how many backdoor passes he threw, but being able to play through him, particularly without Trey and Jalen, who are, two of our primary ball handlers, that was really big for us too.
This is a team that Atlanta kind of goes back and forth with. Like, they've had our number up until now. Now the season series is tied. Do you think some of the unfamiliarity with the players that were on the floor kind of helped throw them off balance a little bit?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think sometimes it really speaks to, the endurance you have to have in an NBA season, and that no game is really alike. Sometimes when you play a team early, you get a different result than when you play later. Sometimes it's in your favor, sometimes it's not. But I thought our guys were really ready to play and took a lot of pride in how they played, and that's always good to see, when a team is rewarded for doing the things that they need to do, executing a game plan, getting back in transition. That was one of the things that, that's been a challenge for us with their guards, just getting to the rim in transition. And that takes more than one guy. That takes a collective group. And, if you're not shooting the ball well, that's a way for you to impact the game. All those little things that end up with the result that you want.
You said to be happy as a whole, but just the job that the College Park Skyhawks does for these guys to come up here.
Yeah, it should, you can say, be ready, you're a part of the program. And then when it happens, it doesn't happen as frequently, but those guys have a path, and everybody's got a different path. Garrison's a good example of a guy that, he's been in the lineup. He's, gone 7 for 7 from 3. Tonight he didn't make a shot, but his path has been different. And I think that's the important thing to remember. A career in this league is not always linear, and it requires mental toughness, it requires commitment, and really commitment to a team. And the Skyhawks, they're a part of our program. Steve Cly's done a terrific job down there. We were joking the Clyhawks. I think one of those, Brian Bailey said that. So he was on our staff last year. They're doing a lot of the things that we're doing, defensively and offensively, so that the transition that those guys have, there's familiarity with the way that we want to play, and that's what you saw tonight.
Coach, I just want one more, just gauging the defensive execution tonight. Chicago is a three-point shooting team. You limited them to just 6. Just what would you gauge, if it's a scale of 1 to 10, what, the execution
Yeah,
defensively?
that was a big part of the game plan. That they've been so good from 3, and we know that. So at some point, adjusting how you're defending certain guys in certain situations, whether it's a coverage. We've had 5 different coverages against this team this year, and it shows you sometimes it's your commitment and your execution more than anything. And these guys embrace the game plan, and part of it is not being fortunate that someone misses. It's trying to limit attempts, and I thought that was the key thing for us tonight, is they didn't get as many of those shots up. Okay.